not running out.
7:42 in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, just over 2 weeks to go before the long-awaited Tokyo Olympic Games of 2020, now to be held in 2021, due to get underway on July the 23rd. And we are going to be joined now by the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, Brian Lewis, who joins us now and always available to chat with us. Minus his bow tie, though, and that has elicited quite a bit of negative comment from the background here in our morning edition team, because they missed the bow tie, Brian. Good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us.
My apologies. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone there. Good morning to your viewers. I do apologize. I was a little bit rushed this morning. So I apologize for the no bow tie. My apologies.
Apology accepted, because I was wondering if you had lent it to Faris when you had you turn up in Parliament wearing it the other day. But mercifully, I won't draw you into the politics this time around. But as far as Trinidad and Tobago's readiness for the Olympic Games, with all of the challenges, COVID-19 being paramount, where do you think we are right now, Brian?
Well, it's like being in a storm on a ship in a hurricane. With 90 feet, with huge swells, we buffeted, but the radar is showing that land is on the horizon, so that's really where we are in the context of Team TTO. The logistics is very complex. The whole COVID-19 countermeasures, the protocols, PCR tests. The whole disruption of COVID-19 to the qualification process and the preparation process had presented issues and challenges that we have had to wrestle with. This is a very different game for sure.
And with all of those things, let's try and identify some key points. And forgive me if I might have. Has the squad been ratified, the full squad been ratified as yet for the Olympic Games?
Yes, the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, we would have received the final piece in the puzzle, so to speak, would have come from the N3As. They had a track and field or athletics. They would have had their qualification, went down to the wire the 29th of June, so that they would have sent in their official nominations at the 2nd of July. The TTOC would have then had to, because of the tight schedule in terms of, so they came in the 2nd of July, there is an absolute final deadline in terms of what is called the sport entry deadline, which is the 5th of July. And when you consider that it's 12 hours ahead, it's been the chef de mission, Lavi Santana, would have had a very challenging time meeting all these deadlines. So that we then had to, on the advice of our attorney, Dave Williams, round robin by email, the executive, and then take it to the General Council to get the team ratified as was announced officially at around 5 p.m. On Saturday. This is, as I said, with the 5th of July, which is today, and we have to be mindful of the 12 hours. So I have to say that there was some. Again, it was the selection process on this at this time, because of COVID-19, was made in essence very simple or simpler by the various international federations, the IOC and Tokyo 2020, so that those who would have qualified either by meeting the standard time, their qualification process, or the world rankings in the term of in regard to the world athletics, Tokyo 2020 would literally have submitted that. The only decision that would have been left to in this case, the N3As under acting President George Commission, would have been the composition of their relay team where they didn't have the qualified. So for the women, you would have had 2 qualifiers. In Michelle Leahy, they then had to submit 3. In terms of the men 4x1, where there are no men for the first time since 1988, the Seoul Olympics, Trinidad and Tobago will not have a participation in the 100 meters men's sprint. When you consider the legacy of Paisley Crawford, who would have been the first Caribbean sprinter to win a gold medal at the 100 meters. That's not comforting, it's disappointing. But so that they would have had to submit their nominations for the men's relay. Of course, the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee could only be guided in this context by the entries and the entries selection committee. So, there are some challenges with that, but we'll see how that pan out between now and the deadline for the final sport entry deadline, which is today, 12 noon, 11:59 TT time, because it's 12 hours. So the Japanese not giving no leeway. Their deadline is midnight, 11:59 on the 5th, 11:59.
So basically, Brian, you're on the clock because 11:59 is what?
We are on
4 hours and 11 minutes away from now.
Correct is right. So it's been a very challenging times. I mean, if you look at the 4x100 meter men's relay team, they would have qualified by time, and they are either 15th or so in the qualification list. And that time, 38.46 would have been done at the Pan Am Games in Peru. The team, I think, at that time was Kyle Giroux, Keston Glenmont, Elcock, and Akani Hislop. So it's on that basis that the 4x100 meter men's relay team would have qualified. And some people have asked, well, how come we have no qualifiers in the individual? But still, that's the explanation. The 4x100 meter women made the finals of the World Championship in 2019, the 4x400 meter men, so that they would have qualified on that basis. But 30 athletes, so it's a little bittersweet because there are those who would have had their dreams dashed because of the COVID-19 disruption, but that's an uncontrollable, where all over the world, many athletes, many national Olympic committees would have had to deal with the same.
And of course, Brian, some would have been gifted opportunities that they never thought they would have had because of the Michelle Liahi would be a prime example in that regard.
Yes, and she made very good use. And I mean, she would have qualified in a short space of time, showing her undoubted class and potential. We have Kellyanne Batiste, who's five-time Olympian now. The only other person representing at 5 Olympics would have been George Bovell. So, Tobago has 6 qualifiers on the team. Congratulations to them.
And do you see any logistical challenges, especially because we're talking about this time of COVID-19, with getting the entire squad, not just, of course, the track and field contingent, the entire Trinidad and Tobago squad safely into the Games Village and all primed and ready to compete when it arrives?
Of course, there is. The borders wouldn't open until the 17th, so there are all sorts of logistics. It's very challenging. It's costly, and then you have various getting athletes from where, all over the world where they are. While that would have aided in terms of the build-up and the preparation to COVID-19, in them not being based here, it presents different issues. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and the chef de mission. Lavi Santana, the COVID-19 liaison officer, Risa Grant, they're doing their best to ensure the COVID-19 countermeasures, the logistics. It's just important that the various managers make athletes recognize the challenges and don't make life more difficult for the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee management team for this games than it is.
And Brian, we have just a couple of minutes left, and hopefully we might get the chance to chat with you again before you depart to fulfill your obligations as TTOC president, and even if there maybe to link up with you in Tokyo as well might be an opportunity. But how do you see these games? Put off by a year, unprecedented situation, mixed reviews in many different areas, a lot of protest action as well highlighted in the international media, with people in Japan even questioning whether it should be held at all. We know it's a huge event. You can't just simply cancel something like that with billions of dollars invested in it. what is your own mood heading into these delayed Olympic Games?
It's incredibly challenging. First time in history that the Olympic Games has been rescheduled. You have the logistics, you have the valid concerns about safety and health, you have the soul cat issue, you have the Black Lives Matter issue, you have the Rule 50 issue, 50.2. It's awesome, but at the end of the day, COVID-19 has disrupted the world, every sector and industry, and to me, the perseverance and commitment of the dedication of the athletes of Team TTO represents hope for a brighter future. We have to, at the end of the day, all find a way to overcome COVID-19. We are striving to ensure the team is 100% vaccinated. We have to embrace the obstacles, adversity, challenges as they come. That's life. And I'm incredibly proud of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee and Team TTO for embracing the challenges and seeking to represent the country with honor and pride in Tokyo 2020.
Let me just squeeze in one final question. Because
sure, no problem.
This Rule 50 about protest action. If a Trinidad and Tobago athlete, Brian, were to get on the podium and put up a right fist with a black glove or any form of actual protest to highlight Black Lives Matter, what will be the TTOC position?
Well, the TTOC has made it very clear. I've made it very clear. I know many have not agreed, and I've gotten some withering criticism for it, that we will not punish a Team TTO athlete who takes peaceful action in accord with the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, Article 19, in terms of the parameter. We won't condone violent, disruptive, offensive action, but any action that is in accord. And to be fair on the IOC, they have made an adaptation. So it's an evolving situation, but at the end of the day, it's going to be an interesting games. I want to know what they will do when Kevin Durant and the U.S. basketball team take their stands, when the U.S. women's football team, Gwen Berry, Adam Gramley from the U.K., Naomi Osaka. So it's going to be a different thing. But as I said, in terms of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee and Team TTO, I want to assure the country that the athletes will be going out there to do their best to represent the country with pride and honor. But most importantly, there's a bigger picture. We have to do it safely and healthy. We have to recognize that COVID-19 is real, the Delta variant is a real situation, and that we must also return home to our beloved country, our families and communities safely, and not bring back any variants. And I have to be honest with that, so that it is important that every member of the delegation going lives up to their social responsibility and self-discipline in complying with the countermeasures. It's going to be different.
Brian, indeed, thanks as always for your time, and indeed safe travels when you do leave together with the contingent, and let's hope that you all are safely back, and indeed that we're able to report on Trinidad and Tobago's contingent living up to the highest standards of conduct and performance. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much. Long live Trinidad and Tobago.
Indeed, Brian Lewis there with us as we approach 7:56 in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's take a quick break, and then I'll be back in the few minutes left to wrap up the show and give you those reminders about the adjustment as far as the work hours for elements of private and public sector in Trinidad and Tobago, as we go to an image of the traffic situation in Trinidad and Tobago.